She said, take your time, what's the rush? I said, baby, I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. She said, take your time, what's the rush? I said, baby, I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. I can smoke already, so hard in my blunt is. I see past pretty faces, so I got trouble trusting. But I let my guard down for you. Said I'll put my guard down for you. Said I'll be vulnerable, so you can break my heart if you want to. She said, take your time, what's the rush? I said, baby, I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. She said, take your time, what's the rush? I said, baby, I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. No crib talk come through, it's time to break it in. 32 like my pants size, cause them niggas try breaking it. New condo, say your name at the front. You can stay if you want. It's been one of those nights I ain't had in a minute. It's been a minute, had to pop a shroom to recreate the feeling. But it's never the same as the first time we did it. First time we did it. But I let my guard down for you. Said I'll put my guard down for you. Said I'll be vulnerable, so you can break my heart if you want to. She said, take your time, what's the rush? Take your time, what's the rush? I said, baby, I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. She said, take your time, what's the rush? I said, baby, I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. I'm a dog, I'm a mutt.
What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Tonight we're back for another Q&A. It's Tuesday night, Monday night football in the books. Doubleheader last night, so lots of football on the TV. Can't say I stayed up for all of it as an East Coaster. Sorry, not sorry. But look, man, that's not what we're here for tonight. We're here for that Q&A, like I said. So we're going to be answering start sits as we head here into week 8. Trade questions, waiver questions, all of that stuff, whatever you got for me. Even if it's not football related, drop your questions in the chat. I want to answer as many of them as I possibly can. Now, before we get into the questions here tonight, I don't know why that popped up again, but before we get into the questions here tonight, I do want to let you guys know, if you do want to support our show, the best way to always do that is by signing up and playing over on Underdog. Right now, new customers who sign up using promo code LEAGUEFFB and play $5 in the app, they're going to get $100 in bonus funds added to their account. So that's going to give you $105 to play with by just signing up using that code and putting in $5. Now, the good thing is, in October, it is Boosttober over on Underdog. So you're going to get promos every single day in the app. So lots of good stuff over there. Like I said, if you do want to support the show, LEAGUEFFB is the promo code to use. It does help us out a ton. Now, if you do want to help us out in a free way, you don't want to spend any money, you just want to support the channel and, give us your 2 eyes to watch every week, also hit that like button for me. That is the best free way to show this channel some support. I would love to see our like goal tonight get somewhere around 40 to 50. If we can hit that by the end of the hour, that would be dope. But with all of that being said, I don't want to waste too much more time, man. Let's just hop right into the questions. We got a ton of them. Shout out to everybody for being early. This is the most pop in the chat has been early on. So mostly Rob, Drunk on Dynasty, Smitty, Dusk, AK, Trap, Insidious, Jordan, Kevin, Jeff, Jose, Oscar, everybody, man. Everybody. I could scroll down for days. Appreciate all of you guys. But the first question that I got here is Caleb plus 2026 mid-second plus 27 mid-third for Baker and a 26 mid-first. Dynasty, I am going to be going with Caleb Williams here. I still think he is definitely worth the gap because of the age difference between Baker and Caleb. If you're a contender, I get it if you want to go Baker Mayfield, but I think for dynasty purposes, I'm still going with Caleb Williams. He also says, what should I be asking for on top of T-Law for Darnold? I got sent Darnold for T-Law. I'm contending, but straight up just doesn't feel right. It kind of feels like we're right there already. I mean, if you can get a second, that would be like what would be the extra. But I think at the end of the day, they're pretty close in value. And I think they're pretty even for the most part. Tedder Igbuka in Dynasty. I lean Igbuka right now just slightly. Mostly says Saquon plus Tet for London plus Javonte. Sorry for all the questions. Hey, you got in here early. You got first dibs, man. It is what it is. Saquon and Tet for London and Javonte. I'm going to go with London and Javonte. All right. Should I trade JT for Cook or should I ask for more? You should definitely be getting more if you're trading Jonathan Taylor for James Cook. My season is probably cooked. I'm 2-5. I'm reaching the ship, or after reaching the championship the last 2 years, and my studs are starting to get up there in age. Saquon Jacobs, F1, Nico Adams. Should I start considering selling off? If you're 2-5, it does feel like it's old. I don't mind entering a little bit of a retool right now. I think you're in the right idea. It's probably time to consider it. Traded DK straight up for Scadaboo. Good trade. I think they're in the same ballpark. Scadaboo has a little bit of a tough schedule rest of the season, but I do think he is definitely the guy there in New York. Dusk says, I traded Neighbors / Spears for JT and Dobbs, 10-team PPR Dynasty Superflex. I probably should have gotten more value for Neighbors, but I'm currently 5-2, and I think JT pushed me over the top to win it all. Look, here's the thing. If you win, there is no price to pay, I think, for the price of a championship. So if you win, you know, it doesn't really matter what you paid. I do think value-wise, market-wise, you probably should have got a little bit more, but, you know, I understand it for you. And like I said, if you win, it's going to heal all, so it doesn't really matter either way. AK says, also ranked these quarterback replacements for JD5 until he's back. Dart, Flacco, Tyrod, Wentz. It's going to be Dart, Flacco, Wentz, Tyrod in that order for me. Rate the team, 12-team PPR start 7, JD5, Judkins, Brees, Harvey, Charbonnet, Chase Brown, JSN, Igbuka, Mooney, CeeDee Lamb, Kraft, and Henderson. Team feels solid. I mean, it feels like you definitely are going to be waiting on some breakouts from Henderson and Harvey in the back half of the year. I think Chase Brown's trending up, not, you know, rapidly, but he is trending up a little bit. Obviously, love the wide receiver room with JSN and Igbuka. I think it's a very solid team. CeeDee Lamb as well. Very solid team. I really do like it. Out of 10, I'm going to give you about a 8.5, 9, something right there. Trap says, redraft, would you trade GP for Adams? I'm still looking to trade GP while I can. I am not opposed to doing this, but I think they're pretty similar, to be honest, in value. So it's just going to come down to preference. GP is going to be more of a yardage guy. I think Adams has more touchdown potential in this offense, especially if Puka keeps missing time. Appreciate you, Insidious. You are the GOAT. He says, Econ final down. Don't think I failed. You proud? Like a proud dad, man. Appreciate it. Jordan says, should I drop Kyler or Shakir for tight end while McBride is on bye? I mean, I got to think you have other drops that you could make. If not, I guess I'm not opposed to dropping Shakir. Couple more weeks. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, a couple more weeks until... I'm assuming he's talking about fantasy playoffs, so I'm excited. We'll see. Bourne, Booty, or Worthy, pick 2 in full PPR. Give me Worthy and Bourne as long as Pearsall is still out. Golden is droppable. Not fully, but we're not seeing the breakout that we want to see out of Golden, but I don't think he's droppable. Marvin, Dylan Sampson, or Brian Thomas Jr. in a half PPR dynasty. I have CD, Nico, Ladd, BTJ, and Hunter. This is a tough one. I think I'm gonna lean. Man, I think because you have Hunter, there's an argument there for Marvin and Dylan Sampson. But so far throughout the careers, I'm more excited about what BTJ has shown me, but not this year. I don't know, man. It's a tough one. I think I can lean with Marv because you have Hunter, though. Trap says, like the stream before you ask a question. Appreciate you, Trap. Drunk on Dynasty says, I asked because our league is set up like a Premier League where the best teams are in the top division, and at worst, I would only be knocked down one tier and still playoff eligible next season. The bottom tier, 3 teams are not playoff eligible. That's an interesting setup. But yeah, I think if you can still be playoff eligible and you can still retool and do it in a year, why not? Gadsden or Fannin? I think right now in my rankings, I do have Gadsden 1 spot higher than Fannin. But I guess we'll see what happens with Njoku this week and, if he's going to be available or not. Do you think Olave and Chuba for Garrett Wilson in PPR Dynasty is a disrespectful offer? I mean, I wouldn't say disrespectful. I definitely prefer the Garrett Wilson side. Chuba has lost a lot of his lust, I think, so far this year, and it does feel like Rico Dowdle is just the better running back in that backfield at the moment. So, not disrespectful, but certainly in favor of the Garrett Wilson side. Bucky plus JJ for CD Genty, 5-2 full PPR. Give me CD and Genty, I think, in this trade. Logan, what's up, man? Would you trade Love for a late 26 first, early 26 second, and mid 26 second? If you need to retool and you're looking to, shed points, I'm okay with you moving him for that type of compensation. However, I do like his schedule, and I do think he's an interesting player for Superflex. So, it's fine value, not great value. It'd have to be, the right situation for me to do it. MK says, what's up, man? Is Gadsden legit, or was it game script from an injured O-line plus no Hampton? Thinking about using my waiver priority for him as a potential flex. Yeah, I mean, we talked about Gadsden a lot, guys, in the preseason and in the offseason when we were doing our scouting for Dynasty Leagues. I really liked, the analytic profile. He was a receiver type of guy, actually a wide receiver that transitioned to tight end. I think he's talented. I think the talent is legit. I do have, slight skepticism that it is because they don't have a run game at the moment, but we don't know how long it's going to be for Hampton to get back into the lineup, so I'm not opposed of using it if you need some tight end help or flex help potentially, like you said, especially if it's a tight end premium league. I went a season low 11-6 for fantasy this week. How'd your teams do? I think I could actually tell you, I went 4-1 this week. I play in 5 leagues. One of them I'm tanking. Well, 2 of them I'm tanking. I didn't mean to win one of them, but I went 4-1 in my 5 leagues this week. Bucks defense or Bills defense? I currently have the Bills defense is my number 5 defense on the week, and the Bucks is my number 9. So give me the Bills. What teams and players fantasy-wise are you most worried about? I mean, clearly Trevion Henderson's a player that I'm definitely worried about. I don't feel good about him at the moment. Trying to think of who else that I am worried about. I mean, I've been worried about Chase Brown so far, throughout the year. A little bit worried about JCM right now. Just hasn't performed given the opportunity. Woody Marks hasn't looked great given the opportunity. Trying to think of who else. I don't know who else. Maybe Golden. Throw him on the list. But yeah. What up, Alex? Jose says, drop Golden for Downs, Jennings, or Tez Johnson. I think I like Downs more than I like Golden. I like Jennings more than I like Golden right now. So I think, yeah, for those two, not for Tez, though. Smitty said, what about my question? Did we skip a question? Did we skip your question? I don't think we did. Maybe we did. Traded DK straight up for Scadaboo. I think we talked about this. But I like the Scadaboo, even though his schedule is a little bit tough. There you go. He says you skipped my question, the first question. Never mind, thanks. Okay, yeah. Because when it comes in, it doesn't come in order that you guys see it sometimes. I see it a little bit differently until the stream starts, and then they come in order. It's kind of weird on my end. Is that Chargers tight end over Fannin rest of season? He might be. They're kind of similar guys. See, start 2 running backs and 1 flex and a full PPR. Chase Brown, Brees, Rashad White, Judkins, Mooney. 2 running backs and a flex. Give me, I think Judkins, Brees, and White are the ones that I like this week. So yeah, just give me those 3. Start 1 running back and 2 flex. Judkins, White, Flowers, Diggs, Tet, Waddle, Ferguson. The running back for me is going to be Judkins. The 2 wide receivers is going to be, let me double check. Tet and Diggs for me would be the 2. Actually, I lied. Tet and Zay would be the 2. PBR Dynasty Superflex, trading Garrett Wilson, Jacobs, a 26 first and a 27 second for Chase, or Taylor for Chase straight up. Other wide receivers are Lamb, Rice, Nico. Other running backs are Judkins, Henderson, and K9. Wow. I mean, honestly, the most value for your dollar is going to be trading Taylor for Chase straight up and then keeping Garrett Wilson, Jacobs, and those draft picks. But Taylor's the highest scoring asset by far. I think because it's Dynasty, I'm willing to, lose a couple of points on the Taylor side and keep the value of Wilson, Jacobs the first and do the Taylor for Chase trade straight up. Is JSN the greatest wide receiver you've seen in your lifetime? Sure is for me. Right behind a guy named Justin Jefferson, man. He's the greatest I've seen in my lifetime. Yo, what's up? I've been unlucky with matchups 4 and 3 with most points for and most points against. Hopefully that luck switches up for the playoff time. Sometimes that's what it is, man. It's a little bit of luck. Sometimes you get, we call it in our leagues, you play good defense if you have the least points against. Maybe you got to get your team hyped up. Tell them to play some defense, man. Stop focusing on the offense. Play the defense. 13-man PPR. 13-man? That's random. How do you have 13 guys? It's got to be 12, right? 12-man PPR. May, Dart, Judkins, Henry, Hampton, Benson, Trevion, JSN, Nico, BTJ, Tet, Wandell, Tyler Warren. What should I do with Nico or make other moves? I don't know if I would be moving Nico. I think I'd be keeping Nico, and I'd probably be trying to package Trevion and BTJ together to either get an upgrade at wide receiver or go get an upgrade at running back. Who should I drop for Gadsden? Mason Taylor or Fannin? Probably Fannin. Because Mason Taylor plays the Bengals this week, and they are dead last against the running back position. The tight end position. Think Ayuk is a factor once he's back? Yeah, I'd like to see him get back on the football field first. I feel like we haven't watched Ayuk play football in 2 years almost. Dynasty League came into the year with Chase, Lamar, Bucky, Evans, Terry, a ton of others. I'm 7-7 with a league median. Am I cooked for the year? Top team has 1 loss. Came into it ready to win, but IR. I don't know if I would say you're cooked. Anything can happen. Guys like Chase, Lamar, Bucky, and even Terry could be coming back in the back half of the year. So the only guy that you really, might be out of for the rest of the season is Evans. I think you're still fine. As long as you can get into the playoffs, anybody can win once you get there. If I can get Ibuka for Tet straight up, you do it. Dynasty, by the way. Yeah, let's just say I had trade negotiations going on in one of my leagues for Tet and one for Ibuka. I preferred Ibuka over Tet. So yeah, if I have to pick one or the other, I'm taking Ibuka right now. Joshua says 12-man full PPR and sitting 5-2. I'm looking to trade ideas / team ranking, or looking for trade ideas / a team ranking. Mahomes, Bucky, White, Judkins, Hampton, Jettas, Olave, Waddle, Flowers, Ferguson, Sharp, Ridley, Fannin. And that's the team. And it's a good team. Mahomes feels good at the tight end. The quarterback position. Bucky, Judkins, Hampton feels good once they're healthy. Jettas, Waddle feels good. Olave feels fine. Flowers feels fine. I would say the one thing on this team that I don't love is I feel like you need one more hitter at the wide receiver position. So can you trade a guy like Olave and Charbonnet together and then get an upgrade at the wide receiver position, something like that, or a Waddle and a Charbonnet, a Flowers and a Charbonnet, one of those guys, and get an upgrade. 1-6 with the least points for and the most points against by a decent margin. First year playing fantasy though, so I'm treating it like a learning experience and having fun. That's the way to do it, man. I mean, sometimes that's just the years that happen, unfortunately, but if you're, scoring points, you're setting good teams, you can't really control the points scored against you. That's out of your control a lot of the times. Honestly, the points you're scoring is out of your control, but you get what I'm saying. Coker, Leggett, still like Coker over Leggett. Aiden says, any tips on trading elite quarterbacks in Dynasty? I've had trouble trading Hurts for the last year and a half. I feel like midseason would be the best selling point. No, it is. I've always felt like with elite QBs, you have to down tier. You cannot trade them straight across, one for a wide receiver, straight across, one for draft capital. You have to down tier them for whatever reason. That's the easiest way for me to do it. So find a guy you like. Maybe it's going from Hurts down to a Jackson Dart, and then you get some stuff thrown in on top, like some draft capital. Jordan Mason or James Cook in full PPR? Give me James Cook. Should I drop RJ Harvey or I don't know who that is for Algier? Bam Knight. Okay, Bam Knight. Should I drop RJ Harvey or Bam Knight for Algier? I would probably drop. If I'm dropping one, it's Bam. Is it possible to move Henderson for Derrick Henry now? What's the comp difference? I'm competing with Hampton out. Hard to trust the process with Henderson and not easy to sell either. Guy with Henry is 1-6 and the team is old AF. Henry, McLaurin, Adams, Andrews. Assuming this is a dynasty, I would not be selling Henderson for Henry right now, and I would definitely still be patient and trust the process with Henderson in a dynasty league. If it's not a dynasty and I can move Henderson for Henry, I'm doing it. But if you're moving Henderson for Henry in a dynasty, he's going to have to give you somebody else too. Like in a dynasty, I'd want Henry and Adams for my Henderson still. Maybe even more. Like, call me crazy, but I'm patient with Henderson, man. I'm not too worried about it. Marcy says, my running back struggles continue. I have Hampton on my bench, and my other running backs are K9 and Mason. K9's on a bye, so I need to pick somebody up for this week, and also one for the rest of the season. Continued is here. Choices are Stevenson, Manungai, Marks, Davis, Algier, and Spears. So if I'm picking one up for the week, it's going to be Stevenson. Picking one up for the rest of season, it's going to be Marks. So those would be the top two for me, is Stevenson and Marks. I guess the next ones would be Algier, and then probably Spears, Manungai, Davis in that order. But Stevenson and Marks would be my top two there, Marcy. And I think you can play Stevenson right away this week. Where do you have the Falcons defense ranked? Because I can pick them up off of waivers. Defensive for the Falcons is number 2. The number 2 defense on the week. So the only team higher than them is the Colts. 12-team Dynasty Start 11. PPR tight end premium. I am 5-1. But I am about to go through the bye gauntlet. I am too this week. It's insane. Going up against the champ who's 4-2. Should I flip Garrett Wilson for Javonte Williams and Devontae Adams? In a dynasty, no. No. If it was a redraft, yes. But a dynasty, no way. Traded London and Genty for Gibbs. Good trade. He says the team: May, Barkley, Gibbs, Rome, Worthy, Ladd, Kittle, Kelsey, Booty, Henderson, Vidal, Dart, Marks, Pacheco. I'm 2-5. I don't know if I like that for you, being 2-5. I think you needed the wide receiver help with London there still. Genty was, he's not Gibbs, but I don't know if I like the trade, Danny, just being honest. Insidious says, who would you drop, Kyler or Fields, and who would you pick up, Tyrod, T-Law, Flacco, or Dart? I would drop Fields because I think he's benched the rest of the season. I'm pretty sure that that's the route that they're going to go. And then I would pick up Dart over all of them. Dart looks legit. I'll be honest, I don't think Dart should be on any waiver wires at this point in time. We've seen too much good out of him from fantasy football perspective that he should not be on waiver wires. Dropping Bourne for Jennings, I'm okay with it. We did see that. That was Danny's team. We saw this one. Logan says, full PPR. How would you rank these tight ends? Gadsden, Pitts, Fannin, Ingram, Ertz, or Hunter Henry? I would rank it Pitts, Ertz. I'm assuming this is rest of season, not for the week, right? Like, I'm assuming this is rest of season. I'm going Pitts, Ertz, Henry, Gadsden, Fannin, Ingram, probably rest of season. If it's this week, the highest one in my rankings is Pitts, and then Ingram, and then Gadsden. Those would be the top three. Kevin says, dynasty trade. I give Ayuk and a 28 first, and I get CJ Stroud. That's interesting in a super flex. If it's super flex, I absolutely would do it. Yeah, I like that for you in a super flex. Should I drop Hendo for Kyle Monungai or Brashard Smith full PPR? I'm not doing it. I wouldn't do it. I would still be holding. Jesse says, dynasty. What do you do with McCaffrey and Saquon? Saquon, I'm okay trying to sell out. CMC, I'm okay trying to sell out too if, I'm not a strong contender. If I'm a super strong contender trying to run it back, then I'm okay, running these guys into the offseason. Their value is going to dip pretty significantly in the offseason. I think you're not going to be able to sell them for much. Right now is the high point. So you got to make that decision. Are you a super strong contender? Because if you are, those guys are going to help you. Specifically, CMC is going to help you. And if not, maybe you are selling at this point in time. Maybe if you wanted to hedge your bet, the best way to do that would be like, could you move CMC for Javonte Williams and then get something thrown in and get some draft capital or whatever? So maybe a down tier. But it's hard to trust. I feel like it's hard to move CMC because nobody scores more than him, really, most weeks. MK says, you watching NBA? Yeah, I mean, we're talking about watching some of it tonight. My Lakers play tonight, so it's their opening game. Might end up throwing that on. We'll see. It's tough for me to watch basketball, MK, until, mid-season, because I feel like the first 2 months of the season, and nobody really cares. Nobody cares. But what do we... I don't know. More of a casual basketball fan these days. I used to be hardcore. KJ says, also, should I drop Juwan Jennings or Seattle defense for Josh Downs, Tez, Antonio Pierce, or Booty? Full PPR. I'm okay keeping Jennings over those guys. If you have two defenses, I'm probably looking to drop one of them for Downs. But if you're not going to play Downs this week, then maybe just keep the defense. Yeah, I think these options are not as appealing for the most part. Currently 6-1 in my first ever Dynasty League. I got an offer that I'm wondering if I should take or no. I give Chase Brown for a 26 second and third, likely late rounds. RBs are Brees Hall, Scadaboo, Chuba. I am not doing that in a Dynasty. Late second and a third, nah, 6-1. I'd rather just have the guys who can score points. So, yeah, I'd probably still take the 10 points per week Chase Brown can put into my flex. Would you drop B-Rob, Isaiah Davis, or Jacoby Myers? I need a replacement for Daniels. I'm okay dropping Isaiah Davis. I'm okay dropping B-Rob too, but he's going to have like that people praying on a CMC injury. People are probably going to try and pick him up. But yeah, I'm okay dropping either Davis or B-Rob. Dynasty 12-team Superflex. Trade my neighbors for Rice plus my first. Currently sitting in 5th place. Have Kyler, T-Law, Brees, Genty, ETN, Travion, Benson, Odunze. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing it. I would trade neighbors for Rice in a first. Absolutely. Is Saquon just a hold at this point in Dynasty? I can't sell him for anything more than a stale cereal. If that's your league market, then yeah, he's probably a hold at this point in time. Honestly, it's tough with these running backs, man, because once they hit like a certain age, the value never goes up. Even if they perform, the value never goes up. So I think we're going to get to that point here with Saquon, and you might see a lot of stale cereal hitting your inbox. Do we have an update on Jaden Daniels' injury? The last that I heard on it was that he could miss this week again. Let's see Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels. Here's the latest report for him. Daniels' injury not seen as long-term, but he's uncertain for week 8 as far as availability goes. So not a long-term injury, could miss this week. Also, you gave me an idea with the pop yourself. Getting one for my fiance. Thanks for the idea. Oh, the one back there that's of me. I like it, man. That would be that's fun. Do you think Breece Hall will get traded? That's why I was considering Davis. It's definitely in the range of outcomes. You're just gambling of whether or not that could happen this week. But even then, I do think that Davis isn't like gonna be a league-winning type of running back, even if Breece gets traded. So, and you got to have at some point later this year. I'm pretty sure Braylon Allen is supposed to return, so it could be a little messy. Traded AJ for Olave in a second 10-team Superflex. Feel pretty good. Did I quit AJ too early? Contending still. In a dynasty, I don't mind this. In a redraft, I don't know if I might. I mean, it's a second round pick, so it's not going to be a redraft. In a dynasty, I don't mind it. AJ is interesting as well. I think I have him higher in my rankings, but if you're pivoting and you're already nervous, I don't mind it at all. Redraft half PPR with London, Amon, Rome, Tet. Which one should I shop for running back help, and who should I target? If I'm going to shop one of these guys, it's probably going to be... It's either going to be Rome or Tet. And who could you target? It's tough because I always say it's dependent on your league market. Like, I could throw you out a bunch of names, but your league could tell you you're crazy for it. Could you get a James Cook? Could you get a Breece? Could you get a Scattaboo? Could you buy low on a Saquon? Like, those would be names that I'd be looking at potentially. Derrick Henry, could you buy low on him? So you could try a bunch of names, but I know for sure the ones that I would be shopping is Rome or Tet. Smith is an option also. I like Smith too, but I still think Stevenson has the most play appeal out of all of them. 2 and 5 because I had over 1,000 points scored on me already, and I'm 4th in scoring. Unfortunate. Rest of the season. Okay, yeah, Kyle Pitts is at the top of that list. Would you rather have Schultz or Gadsden? I would rather have Gadsden. Cup or Coker rest of the season? I'm going to go with Coker. Cup is not super impressive to me. Chat, I'm 5 and 2, 4th place. Have Jetta, CD, Rice, and Keon. Lost Evans last night. Who do I target? I mean, to be honest, you have Jetta, CD, and Rice. I don't know if you really need to target anybody else. You'll play those 3 every week. But if you want to down tier one of them, I guess. It is a dynasty, and he's stuck in the championship team he once had. I'll wait it out, but my running backs are Cook, Dowdle, Henderson, B-Rob until Hampton is back. Need you on the call to boost Hendo up. Yeah, for real. Look, man, I think you're okay. Cook and Dowdle should give you decent production. I think Henderson, there's just upside still there that hopefully. I say upside. Let me be clear when I say upside with Henderson. The talent of Henderson is upside in itself. The opportunity hasn't found it. So we're hoping that happens later in the year. But I think the fact that you have Hampton, coming back from injury in 2, 3, 4 weeks maybe, I think Cook and Dowdle can float you by. And maybe just streaming some matchups. I don't know if you have to make the moves right now. John says, everybody hit that like. Come on. We're at 33. I said the goal was like 40 to 50. We could get 50, folks. If you haven't hit it, go ahead and hit that for me. We're about halfway through the stream already. Time's flying, man. Appreciate all the questions. Let's see. Where are we at? Jag. In a redraft, would you move JSN and Charbonnet for James Cook and Jordan Addison? My running backs right now are Genty, Pollard, Hampton, IR. My wideouts are Pukatet, BTJ, Pearsall. I'd be getting Cook and Addison. No, I want to keep JSN. He's a league-winning type of guy right now. Probably one of the best picks anybody could have made all year. Tobin says, traded Saquon and Ladd for James Cook and Marvin. Redraft, 10-team full PPR. I don't mind that. I think that's an okay trade if you're wanting to pivot off of Saquon right now or you want to pivot off of Ladd. I don't think that's a bad deal. Frank says, hey, Andrew, I got an offer to trade away Adams and Rashad White for Irving in a redraft 14-team. Cook is my strongest running back. Wide receivers are Chase, Adams, Rice, Garrett Wilson, Addison, Dobbs, and Burton. I like that for you. I think that's a good deal. I'd take Bucky Irving. What's up, Frizzle? Logan says the new NBA Cup at the start of the season is pretty fun. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to throw into it. It still doesn't mean too much. I wish they'd give it a little bit more oomph to like mean something. But yeah, I've been going through the last little while, man. I have a huge trading card collection from when I was a kid. Like I said, I used to be a hardcore NBA guy. I've been going through and like slabbing a bunch of my cards. I got like this KG game worn. I'm pulling them just because they're sitting on my desk. I got Derek Fisher, Steve Nash, game worn. This LeBron fabric, game worn, pretty cool one. Carmelo, it's like a numbered card with a game worn. And then I got a Lamar Odom as well. Like I said, I'm a Lakers guy, so I got some stuff. But these are just some that I found out of a box. I got hundreds and hundreds of jersey cards and autos and stuff still sitting in lock boxes and stuff back there I need to go through. I've been trying to do like a stack a day, trying to go through some of my cards. I'd be interested in selling some of these too. So if you guys are in the trading card stuff, hit me on Discord because I might be interested in selling some stuff to some people if they're interested in it. Because I'm trying to get rid of some of this before I move. I move at the end of the year to Texas. All right, back to work. Other positions are stacked. I did reach out about the CD for Gibbs deal, and he might go for it, but I don't know after last night. Yeah, Gibbs went nuclear. But CD went pretty solid as well. Contender, what would you pay for Barkley? Can you move 2 seconds, one of them being early for him? I'd still probably pay a late first if I needed it, but yeah, as a contender, you're kind of in that weird range where is he a late first or is he a couple early seconds? I'd rather do the seconds, but I don't know if anybody's selling for that. Frizzle says, since Fields is going to be benched, do we give Mason Taylor one more chance or drop for Gadsden Pitts? I like Pitts' rest of season schedule more than Mason Taylor's. Pitts needs to be picked up. If Pitts is on the waiver wire, make sure to pick him up. Dynasty, 1 quarterback, PPR, 12 team. Is a 2026 late first and a 27 mid first too much for Lamar Jackson and a 1 QB? I don't think it's too much in a 1 QB. Lamar's a game breaker, man. It's a lot, but I don't think it's too much. Who would you drop for Brashard? Isaiah Davis or Ray Davis or Detroit defense and hope no one picks them up until next week? I would be okay dropping probably Ray Davis for Brashard. Trade Hall for Genty. I'm 3-4, so I kind of need this win. Have Kyron on bye, so it would be forced to start Spears. Yikes. I'd probably, if you're 3-4 and you need a win, I would hold Hall for the week, let him play against Cincinnati, and then try and renegotiate this and try and see if they'll do it next week. Because I would take Genty, I think. If all the stars were to line up, which running back off the waivers this week would be a league winner? Let's see. All the stars are to line up. It's a loaded question in a little bit. But I like it. Let's see. Rankings, waiver wire rankings, running backs. I mean, if everything were to line up, Brashard Smith probably is, hopefully turns into the guy for the Chiefs. That would be like, if everything were to line up. Other than that, you know, it would have to take an injury. So like Algier would need Bijan to get hurt. Monungai would need Swift to get hurt. Smith feels like a guy that could take over the backfield without an injury. So I think he's the only one potentially that I'd be looking at like that. I lost 187 to 167 this week. Ridiculous. Thanks, Rice. Is what it is, man. Alex says, you the man. You the man too, Alex, man. Rank my dynasty team. Suggest moves, please. Quarterbacks are Nix, Penix, Wentz, Ewers, Cousins. Oh, this gets spread out pretty far. Brown, Chuba, Scatterboo, Brees. Wide receivers are Chase, Myers, Igbuka, Shakir, QJ, Trey Harris, Pat Bryant, Kraft, Goddard. All right, so the tight ends feel fine. Running backs, Brown, Chuba, Scatterboo. It feels could improve there. Wide receivers, I think behind Chase and Igbuka still feels shallow-ish. And Nix, Penix, Wentz still feels shallow. I think you're missing some big hitters potentially, unless this is like a 14-team league. If it's 14-team, then yeah, but I think you're missing some big hitters. It feels like you have a couple guys, but then it drops off a cliff pretty hard as far as talent goes. So the big names like Chase and Igbuka are going to hold this team up, but I'd say good, not great. Probably a 7, 6.5, 7, which is, you know, above average there. Bucky 27, second and third. Bucky 27, second and third, or Olave, Chase Brown, and a 26 first. Gosh, man. This is a tough one. Bucky's the best player in the deal. I like Olave still. The 26 first is interesting. I think I'm going to go with Olave, Chase Brown on the first side because it gives me more flexibility down the road. Frank says, Dynasty trade. I got to offer to get Kyron and Christian Kirk for 26 and 27 first. I'm going to rebuttal with a 26 first and like Coker, Calvin Austin, Jaden Higgins. Are these good options? It's a 1 QB, I think is where that was. Where's Frank's? 1 QB league, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay giving 1 first for Kyron. I'm not giving multiple for Kyron. I don't really care too much about Christian Kirk. If you can give a Coker, Calvin Austin, that's fine. I'd rather keep Jaden Higgins. So yeah, I'd try and get it to 1 first. He can keep Christian Kirk. I don't care about Christian Kirk in Dynasty. Andrew, screw the Adams deal. I just traded GP, Indiana Jones, and Henderson for Jettas in redraft. Thoughts? I definitely like that one, especially if you have some QB help, things like that. I like that. Need a flex. Should I pick up Tez or Shakir? I like Shakir more. Brown, Chuba, Scatterboo. Oh, we already saw these. These are from the teams. JCM or Chase Brown rest of the season? I'm going Chase Brown, man. I still think he's better rest of the season. Puka or JSN in Dynasty? I like Puka more, just barely, not a ton. What are we doing with Devin Neal? We fading him? Not super intrigued. Not super intrigued. Alex says, what? I'm in Texas. Pull up. What part of Texas, Alex? Because I'm moving to Dallas, the Dallas area. Traded Neighbors for London, early 26 and 27 first. Yeah, I like that a lot. Big W, Logan. That's one of the Jameis Winston W's, you know, the ones that you eat. Frank says, how much fab are you putting down on Brashard? I'd put anywhere between 10 and 20% potentially on him of whatever you got left. So if you play with a $100 budget, 10 to 20 bucks on him is probably what I'd be willing to spend on the high end, depending on how much I need running back. Can Woody take over the backfield without an injury? Houston looked so bad last night. I think he can without an injury, but you're right. It's the offensive line that is bad for them. It's not anything else other than that. It's the offensive line, and that's not really going to change. So, you know, it is what it is. Bullish on Woody. Lukewarm for me. Frizzle says, would it be ideal to roster both Gadsden and Kyle Pitts? If you can, yeah, I think that's cool. But if I had to prioritize one, it would be Kyle Pitts. Trap says, I think my question got skipped. Did we accidentally skip one? It's the Jettas one, right? Because I said I liked the Jettas one. We talked about it, Trap. Pretty sure. If you didn't hear it, I said I liked the Jetta side of it. I liked it. QB, Dak, wide receiver, Chase, Ladd, Jamo, Hunter, Ridley, Coker, Tez, Saquon, Etienne, Alvin Kamara, Stevenson, Vidal. It's a 10-man half PPR. I'm 4-3. Not sure what I should do. I'm not feeling super confident. Yeah. I'll be honest. I think this team lacks a little bit of the explosion. I mean, it's just guys like Saquon hasn't turned out. AK hasn't turned out too much. In a 10-man league, when those guys aren't going to perform, it leaves you pretty shallow. I think what you're going to need to do is consolidate some of this. So you have some depth. I would probably be trying to package, you know, JMO and an ETN, or a Ladd and an ETN together to try and get an upgrade somewhere. Maybe it's a Ladd and an Alvin Kamara together. But I think what you need to do is you need to try and package a few of these guys. Be okay playing a guy like Coker, or a guy like Tez on a week-by-week basis in the flex to upgrade somewhere else. So get a little bit shallower. It's a 10-man league, so you can find some guys on waivers. But you need to consolidate some of this to find some higher-hitting production. Origin, would you trade Keenan Allen for a late third in 2026? If you're rebuilding, I'm okay going for the third. Late feels really cheap. Feels like you should be able to get at least an early third. I think he's more of a late second. You know what, though? Another guy that you could try and do, if you're trying to be, you know, move into a younger direction, could you move a guy like Keenan for a Troy Franklin and maybe go that route potentially? Late third feels really light, but if that's the league market, then sure. Alex says, I'm just east of Dallas in Dallas County, but not the city major. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I think we're going to be outside of Dallas, not like in the city, but we'll be in the area for sure. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll be right there with you. I mean, we can talk proximity off stream. No offense, everyone. Love you all. Yeah, I mean, we ain't doxing you, brother. And hopefully it ain't doxing me. Any word on Scary Terry playing yet? Haven't heard a damn thing. It's unfortunate. Rather have Love or Purdy rest of the season if Purdy is healthy, super flex, and second quarterback is Dart. I think I'd rather have Love rest of the season than Purdy. What is Jordan Love worth for a rebuilding team? 12 team super flex, full point, PPR, tight end premium. So if you're trading for him, I'd be okay giving a mid first and a second in this upcoming draft class. I'd be okay giving maybe one early first, but I don't know, as a rebuilder, I'd probably like to just stay liquid there. But I think a mid first, I'd be okay giving up to go get Jordan Love if I need some quarterback help. Or I guess if I'm selling him, maybe if that's the question, if you're selling him, I'd like to get a mid first and something on top of that, or a early first if somebody's willing to pay it. Trap says you're good. All right, man. I'm glad that we got that figured out. I'm 3-4 in a 10-man full PPR league, redraft league. I have CD, Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, Marvin Harrison Jr., Genty, Rico, Rashad White, Kamara, Henderson, K9. Should I make a move for a more reliable running back 1 or 2? So you have Genty, Rico, Rashad, Kamara. Yeah, I think you do need to make a move for a more reliable RB2. I like keeping Genty. I like keeping Rico where we're at right now. Can you move Marvin and K9, to go get an upgrade? Or can you move K9 and Kamara, jumble them together, and then go get an upgrade? I think that's probably what I'd be trying to do. BTJ or Rome rest of season? Give me Rome. What's up, Jeremy? He says, what's going on? Blessings to you, brother. Thank you for everything. Thank you, man. Thank you for always, tapping into the stream and watching, hanging out. Appreciate you, and blessings to you, man. Do you think Williams is a good RB1 rest of season? I do like Javonte rest of season. Should I hold Luther Burden or drop him for Brashard Smith? I'm okay dropping him. I'd like to hold Luther Burden, though. Good night, Alex. It says, time to get the sons to bed. Always a good time. Appreciate you being here. Who should I try and get for ETN JMO combo? I'm not good with knowing values. Okay, so one thing that's good for people who aren't super good with values is type in fantasycalc.com. They have a trade calculator there that's voted on. People kind of change it over time. So it's a good starting point. I'll tell you right now, if you were to put those two guys in, I'll just tell you some of the names that are around them and tell you who I would take for them. But if you put those two guys together, we're looking at about 2,700 points in value, which would be like a George Pickens, I would take. Could you get a Lad McConkey? Could you get a Cortland Sutton? That's a good one. Jalen Waddle would be an interesting one. But I would go to Fantasy Calc and try and see, just names that you like around their value range. And that's good for people to reference because, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Always happy to help you guys when it comes to trying to figure out trades. It is much easier for me as somebody who doesn't play in your leagues to give you advice when you come to me and say, hey, I have this offer on the table. Should I take this offer or should I pass? It's much easier for me to advise on that when you say, hey, I have this player. Who should I trade for? It's way harder for me to look across. I mean, I don't play in your league. I don't know what the teams look like. If teams are light at running back or light at wide receiver, I don't know what roster construction looks like. I don't know the habits of the people trading. It is so much harder for me to just pick a name out of the air and say, go make a trade for this guy. So that's why I always reference, or why I always say, use tools if you can use them. If you're good with values and you want to say, hey, should I offer this trade specifically to somebody? I can say yes or no. So that's a little bit easier. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't want to use that as a cop-out because I do always try and help you guys the most, but it's just hard for me to pick a name out of the air when there's so much that goes into trading that I cannot see unless you come to me with a solidified offer in hand. Sid says, trading for Bryant Thomas Jr. and Dart for Amon-Ra and Scat. What do we think? I'm not great this year. Quarterbacks are Bryce and Cam Ward. And Dart for Amon-Ra and Scat. I would rather have the BTJ and Dart side in a dynasty league right now, especially given your quarterback situation. What's Derrick Henry worth in a dynasty? I tried trading a 28 second and 27 third. I would do a 28 first, but I don't have any 26 picks and 1 pick in 27. Or I can trade Horton, Stevenson, or Josh Palmer, or Holly for Henry. Yeah, I think you're gonna have to give more than a 28 second and a third. 2 seconds is where I'd be at. I don't know if I want to give away first for Derrick Henry right now, because if you're trading a 28 first for Derrick Henry, I don't even believe Derrick Henry is going to be benefiting your dynasty team in 2028 when that pick is not in your hand anymore. So I 2 seconds, but the fact that you don't have a ton of draft capital right now, you may be, stuck with that. Could you do the second in Stevenson? Could you do the second in Horton maybe? I don't know. It feels like all of that is a little bit light on compensation. Is Burden cooked rest of season, or is Moore being traded his only hope? No, I don't think he's cooked, and I don't think Moore needs to be traded for him to be fine either. He's like this fringe waiver guy that I think people are stashing just for some upside. Injuries, trades, things like that. I think he's a very talented player, though. Who do you think would be some decent targets for K9 and Kamara? Let me go back to Fantasy Calc. I should just keep this open when we stream. It's kind of going to put you in that same bucket we just talked about. Could you get an AJ, a Rome, a Pickens? Those would be the guys that I'd look at. Could you move it into a Scattaboo? Maybe throw a little bit on top of those two guys and get to a Judkins. That would kind of be where you'd be looking at. It's all good, man. I'm not upset about it at all. I'm not upset. Don't worry about it. Where were we at? I'm going to call a final call here too, folks. We got about 5 more minutes on this stream. I'm going to try and get through everybody's to the end. But once I catch up, we will be wrapping this up. Where are we? I got Gibbs, Cook, Hampton, Sharp. Who's a cheap running back I could try and get to fill that RB2 slot this week? Stevenson's been on the waiver wire for some people. Could you play Brashard Smith off of the waiver wire this week, potentially? I also have guys in my rankings that are, playable. Would be like a Spears. Could you play Tajay? Could you play a Kenny Gainwell? Those would be like cheap options that you could probably pick up and plug in. Caleb Williams, QB1 rest of the season. He can be a QB1 the rest of the season, I think. Insidious says, how long have you been making content, Andrew? Was this something you always knew that you wanted to do? Great question. I've been making fantasy football content. This is my 3rd season doing it. So I started this channel back in 2022, 2023, right around there, right at the new year. Started this channel, started doing content for this. Before that, I had done other pieces of content. I have a film degree, so I worked in a film studio making content for them. I did podcasts and stuff like that beforehand as well. I had my own podcast show for a while in college. So I've been doing content for a long period of time. I didn't always know that I wanted to do this, but it's kind of been a great fit because content has always been something that I've enjoyed. I used to do a couple short films a year. We won some awards for some short films that I did before. But I knew that I liked making content, and I love football and love playing fantasy football, specifically Dynasty. So it's just something that I started doing. But I've been doing this channel for about 3 years. Content way before that. I didn't always know I was going to do this, though. I actually went to college to get a business degree at one point in time, which is helpful for what I'm doing now a little bit, just trying to grow my own brand. But no, I did that. I tried to go into sports commentary, sports broadcasting before, which was fun as well. But it was like doing content on sports yourself is kind of just like doing that already, except you're not on TV like Joe Buck. But yeah, man. Do you think Jaden Daniels will return to last year's form? It's tough for him, man. I think we need to see Terry McLaurin get on the football field bad. He's missing Terry McLaurin's, deep ball ability right now in this offense. Thoughts on Booty? Have May and trying to acquire him in Dynasty. I think he could be May's potential top target someday soon. Giving him a second sound too much yet. Yeah, I think it sounds too much. I'm not super high on Booty. I still think this is a team that's going to add some more weapons over the next couple of years. So I think he's solid for now, but I wouldn't be giving more than a third for him at the moment. Thinking about accepting the trade in my dynasty. Love the content. Appreciate it, man. Sid says, also in another dynasty, trying to tear down from Purdy to Ward. What do you think I could get as well? Maybe a first, trying to get 2 first, but not sure if I want to throw in Olave. I don't think you can get 2 first. If you're trying to tear down Purdy for Ward, I think 1 first is a fair ask, because it hasn't looked good for Ward. I think 1 first is a fair ask. 2 is too much. Should I trade Kelsey, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Rachaad White for Kittle and Godwin? I'm not opposed to it. I think Kittle's the best player in that deal, and Godwin, if he's healthy, is the second best. Smitty says, I need a wide receiver now that I traded DK. I have Kittle and Fannin. Would you trade Fannin for Addison or Wilson, or do you have any doable suggestions? Garrett Wilson? If you can trade Fannin for Garrett Wilson, absolutely. But if you could trade Fannin for Addison, I like that as well. I'm surprised you're able to get that for Fannin at the moment, honestly. I think he's a player that, honestly, if I was buying Harold Fannin, I probably wouldn't be offering you too much, honestly. I'd probably be offering you like Romeo Dobbs. I'd be offering you Wan'Dale Robinson. So if you can get a Jordan Addison, yeah, I like that. Jordan Addison has a beautiful rest of season schedule. Would you send ETN and Coker / J-Mode for... I would definitely do ETN and Coker for Hall. I'm not throwing J-Mo into that deal with ETN for Hall. I don't think it's a big enough upgrade there. For Scatterboo, I think I would do ETN, and I'd consider ETN and J-Mo for Scatterboo. What should I trade Garrett Wilson for in redraft after the Fields benching? I don't think that it hurts Garrett Wilson that Justin Fields is benched, by the way. So I don't know if I'm selling him at the moment. I could also probably go get Godwin instead. That would be intriguing if you think he's going to be back and healthy sometime soon. I was going to ask about Booty too. I got offered a 26 third and a 4th for him in a Superflex Dynasty. I was going to try and get a late 27 second for him if I could. Yeah, if you can, I would do the second. I'm okay settling for the 3rd and the 4th if you're not a Booty believer. You know, I know everybody likes a big Booty, but Booty is just not a guy that I believe in. I like different types of Booty, to be honest. What the fuck am I talking about? Do you prefer Igbuka or Jefferson rest of season? I think I'd rather have Igbuka rest of season, I think. Insidious says, thanks, Andrew. See you on Friday, big dog. Appreciate it, man. I'll see you on Friday as well. And last question here from James says, down a running back this week for Buy Mageddon. What's your list of top 5 non-starters for week 8? Gainwell, Brashard on waivers, among others. It would be Brashard. It would be Gainwell. I also mentioned... what did I say earlier? I think a guy like Spears is intriguing. Maybe a Manungai. Ramondre Stevenson, but he's probably already wavered. Justice Hill is intriguing. Those would be the guys that I'd be looking at. So, all right, folks, we did hit our like goal of 40, so that is definitely good to see. We did get caught up, so appreciate everybody here tonight asking questions. I do want to remind you guys before we get on out of here, I usually do it midstream, but it was jam-packed tonight. So if you do want to support our show, the best way to do that, if we answered your question, you're like, man, I just want to show that guy a reason that I'm thankful. Use promo code LeagueFFB if you've never played over on Underdog, and when you play with $5, they will give you $100 extra. So it's $105 in the account. Right now is a good time to do it. It's Boosttober, so you get promos in the app every single day of October. And like I said, promo code's LeagueFFB. It's $5. Does help, greatly support the show. Underdog pays very well, so I appreciate them, for people who use the promo code. But also, if you don't want to do anything, financial right now, you just want to support the show with your own 2 eyes and your thumb, hit the like button for me. It is the best free way to do it. And also hit the subscribe button. But with all that being said, guys, I have nothing else for you guys today, so I will see you on our next episode. But until then, peace out.